Like, I mean, Turkey is 99.8% Muslim country. But among the Muslim countries, we are probably the most modern one. And so, but I think I was thinking in the past that because I'm living in Turkey, life of a businesswoman is hard. But now I'm understanding that it's hard everywhere because you have different duties and different responsibilities, and like kids, marriage. That's why I think it's more difficult for women to become entrepreneur.
Welcome, everybody, to another show in the Europreneur podcast for the Entrepreneurs Organization. My name is Neil Zaval, and as always, I have a pleasure of interviewing interesting people from all over Europe. Most of them are very successful entrepreneurs, some of them are amazing entrepreneurs. And today I have a special guest from Turkey, from Istanbul, which is interesting because we're going to meet probably tomorrow. So by the time you guys see this episode, we will just be wrapping up an amazing week in Cappadocia in Turkey. So, John, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine. Can't wait to see you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like you and I have been trying to schedule this, and then finally we said, let's do it either now or we'll never do it. So I'm currently in Serbia, and you're in Cappadocia in Turkey, and we still managed to find a little bit of time. What's the weather over there?
It's so hot today, unbelievable. I was planning to go for a walk. We did the excursion this morning, but I said, okay, it's better to stay in the room for a while because the area it gets cool at night. So I'm waiting till it gets 5 or so.
So, as someone who's coming from the heat of Israel, I think I will stay in the room until the evenings, and then you guys let me know when it's dinner, and we'll be fine. And so we've met a few years ago through EO. I think we became good friends. We've met in different countries and different places, and I thought it would be interesting to give people a glimpse into who you are and what you do. So I will ask you to make a short elevator pitch, your name, family, what you do, and we'll take it from there.
All right. My name is John. Actually, I have two names, but I use John because I like it better, means life. But sometimes I also use Ayşe just to make, especially Turkish people, understand that I'm female because just originally a male name. I was born and raised in Istanbul and lived most of my life in Istanbul. I'm married. I have two kids, 23 and 20, not kids anymore, adults. Two boys, 23 and 25 years old. And I've been all my life, since I know myself, trying to do, I had that entrepreneurial mindset. And I was even working during the high school years. And then at the college, of course, I started officially working in many different places. Then I worked in insurance and banking sector for a while as a executive job. Then I started my own business. It was very coincidentally, I was looking to do something different, and I had no clue. And I was in a meeting in Switzerland for the Woman Entrepreneur of the Year because I wanted to. That time I was, we had a travel agency, and I was trying to get that event to Turkey.
Wait, you were working or you owned the travel agency?
It was a family business.
What age was that?
It was like almost 15, 16 years ago,
So you
maybe
were
more.
22 then. Okay, 22. Okay.
No, in 13 maybe. Anyway, then I met a person, another lady, and she was looking for something different as well. Then we said, okay, let's do something together. But we both didn't have any idea. Then just by chance we came, maybe by chance or so, we were kind of looking around as well. We came across the Israeli company which does highly security, intelligence, and all fiber optic related, because in order to do that you need the infrastructure. So they were quite interesting to enter the Turkish market. So we started a company, 50% Turkish, 50% Israeli, and doing different type of crazy projects. I wouldn't even imagine, because I don't have business graduated, and I don't have any clue about the infrastructure. I didn't. Now
You
I know
you
maybe.
you went from banking to tourism to tech infrastructure.
I also have insurance. I also worked in an insurance company.
Of course. Of course. This is
Yeah.
insane. And everything is like what, within like 8, 10 years?
Probably less.
Why didn't you stay in the family business?
It's so hard.
Wait,
It's so hard.
tourism or family business?
Family business is hard. So, and I'm a very independent person. So, I said, okay, family business over there all the time. So, and there are executive people working there. So let me try my own way. And uh, that business lasted almost 15 years, and we did great projects. One of the project was the building that they have been made only for the IMF meeting that was held in Istanbul, and it was in a very short time. Too much work, and fiber optic is a glass, so you cannot have any dust, and so political job because everyone is involved, but everything well, perfectly well, and work with the telecommunication companies as well. So that was going well till I came to a point that I have to live in New Jersey for my son, who went there for high school. By the way, I'll tell you some story in between. Uh, my son went 10th grade, and that time there were so many shooting in the United States in the high schools. I was quite worried because I always think that college years are better for children to go away from the family, and I was looking for someone to be guardian, or to be who is close to where he's located. And I wrote it to EO. I said I'm looking someone in Princeton, and Princeton is such a small place. You know, it's in New Jersey. New Jersey is big, but Princeton is very small. And someone called me back saying that, oh, my kids are graduated from that school, and we live in the neighborhood, so I'll be willing to do that. So I mean, then we became good friends during year time. So this is, but on the second year, he said, "Mom, I really need you, so please come and stay with me." That was the only condition that the school allows the child to stay out of the school. So I spent a year over there, and that year I decided that the technology business is enough. So and
Why?
in
What makes you, after 15 years of a successful business, say, I'm done?
what happened is, my partner, her daughter got cancer, and I was away, so things weren't going in the way that we were uh, planning. So we said that, okay, our concentration is too much away. So maybe, I mean, do we want anything like that anymore in our lives? Such a packed business, too much technology, too much involvement in every single thing. So we said, okay, we'll exit. We don't want it anymore. Uh, I wouldn't think that I will do something like that in my life, but it happened.
Was it
Uh,
hard from decision to selling the business? Is it a hard process?
Actually, it wasn't hard because I realized that I really had enough dealing with engineers and trying to figure out the Chinese. You don't have a clue. So at least get an idea what they do, and coordinate the team. It wasn't that easy. Anyway,
I
then
have, I have a personal question about that, if I may. From the moment you made a decision as partners that you're out, I assume there was a timeline to selling the business, a few months at least, I assume. How hard was it to go to work every day when you decided you're done?
actually, you know what happened? I told my partner, whether you buy or I buy the company. She said, whether we continue together or we sell the company. So, so there were only one choice.
And
Uh,
those days after you decided together to sell the company, you
that
go happy to work, or you're
yeah, I was happy. I was happy. Then, again, enjoying that happiness for a short while, I started thinking, what will I do next? Although I have a heavy, busy social life, but still, I mean, I get used to work and create something, do something in my life. I took a couple courses in different places. Then the pandemic started. The pandemic, and I was in the garden most of the time doing gardening, planting, and then I realized that I really enjoyed it. I always enjoyed it, but I didn't have much time to spend in the garden. Uh, then I said, okay, I'll do something different this time. Technology, nature, planting, infrastructure. So I said, okay, but I need to have a better, better reason to do that. Not reason, but better aim an outcome. So I said, okay, living in a big city, kids do not know plants, they do not touch the soil. Um, I said, okay, what I'll do is trying to teach kids, especially young ones, um, grow their own plants and be able to play with the soil, uh, be more aware of the nature. So that's what I started 2 years ago.
so the business teaches kids how to learn and work with soil and plants.
Actually, what I do is I created some ceramic cups and combine it with color pencils. And also, I started with the succulents. Succulents is type of a cactus without needles, and it's hard to kill a succulent. It's very survival plant.
You know, in Tel Aviv, it's a very typical bachelor flower to give
Yeah, I didn't know that.
because it rarely dies. So it's either that or lucky bamboo. It's like one of the two. So
I see. So the first kit was soil in a different bag. Succulent is a different bag. The ceramic cups and the coloring paper, the coloring pencils. So the kid got the pencils, color his own cup, and then put the soil. Of course, there are instructions, and plant the succulent and take care of the succulent afterwards. And also, I'm organizing trainings or workshops in the museums or where I can reach to the kids. That's another part of it. And meanwhile, I wasn't targeting, but and I wanted, I didn't want to go too fast. I wanted to settle everything and go slowly. But of course, social media is something very important. So I was posting so many things in Instagram, and many hotels reach out to buy kits for the children who visit the hotels or for their guests. And also, meanwhile, I also started working with the NGOs where they do some type of benefit for the kids, or if or the ones who are reaching kids. It's kind of that side is nonprofit. Mainly, I can also consider the business as a kind of social uh, company because the profit uh, I made it intentionally. I'm not uh, aiming to have high profit, but I'm aiming to have high outcome out of it.
Or high impact.
High impact, yes.
And is this like a do you have like a monthly subscription where every month the kid gets a new plant? Is that an option?
I was planning to do that, but I couldn't do it. That was one of the plans at the beginning to do subscription, but it didn't work.
People don't like it in Turkey.
Um, what I realized is um, parents are not so keen on teaching their kids about the nature. So I realized that I have to create a model or something uh, for them to buy it as a gift or as a toy. So that's how they'll get involved into the planting and growing plants.
We've never done this during an episode, but if it's okay, I'll ask you a few questions. I'm very intrigued about this concept. I think it's an amazing thing that you're doing. Basically, you say parents are not interested in teaching their kids, and that's fascinating. Why do you think that they feel like that?
Okay, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about the democratic way of, I mean, how people live in big cities. Like Istanbul is 18 million people, and life is not that easy. You know, it's hectic. There's always traffic. It's a beautiful city, uh, but life is very fast. So I'm not talking about the like in the other cities in Turkey. This is not the same situation. People have more time. Maybe they have their own garden, or at least on the weekend they go to a place where they can see the plants or other things. But Istanbul, so parents they are so busy. But they also want to teach their kids something different, but there is music, sport activities, this and that. So probably this subject is not in their list.
It's interesting. Two things I'm hearing, and then we can move forward. But I think it's interesting in terms of marketing. One is, I believe, subscription boxes are the best way when they work well. And I think it is very interesting to see if we can make the parents feel better parents because they buy it. It's not teaching their kids.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I was, I mean, the ones who are interested, because we also contribute to the NGOs with the sales we make. We suggested to, and we also made a research about it. They weren't so keen on. Maybe I don't know. Maybe people living in a small apartment. Maybe they don't want that many plants in the house. That might. I don't.
It's a different concept when you tell a parent. Parents don't need to know everything. To know they need to know. where to find what they want to teach. Then it's interesting. And another thing that you might be interested in is if we do, for example, if you do small plans to teach about, and then you send a wooden box that has four placeholders with the first box that they buy. Now it will always feel like you need more.
That's a new project. Now we are planning to. We're working on. We know what we are going to do, but the makeup is still. People are working on the colors and the. It will be the collection for the kids. The
Mm,
kids do like to make a collection. And I forgot to tell you, the first step was the succulents. The second is the seeds, growing plants from the seed,
yeah,
and the plants that they can eat.
I love it. There used to be a Kickstarter campaign where they did these driplets. So they would drip. So you put water in one, it would drip, and you can hang them on the wall. And then one would grow, I don't know, tomatoes, and one would grow an onion. And so you can put the seeds whatever you want. And then you just put a bit of water, and they would drip through all. So you'd have like four ones hanging. So they don't take a lot of space. And that was interesting. I love the fact that you're bringing nature into city life. I think it's a very interesting. It's a unique concept. Is it scaling the way you wanted it? Is it growing at the pace you wanted?
It is growing because I do lots of side works, like meeting the kids in the museums or in other places. So people start talking, people saying, oh, my kids attended to that workshop and it was so nice. I liked it. So that also brings some awareness to the parents as well.
How important do you think is word of mouth compared to social that you guys are pushing out?
I think both, because I realized that people, especially Instagram or TikTok, those medias, it's getting very popular and people really inspire from those videos. And both work well.
Do you use TikTok?
I don't, we're just starting.
No, no, you personally.
I check it once in a while because you know what I feel after watching a couple videos is if like I'm inside stuck and I cannot get out. That's the I have.
I think that's what they're aiming for.
Yeah.
You
So
know
they are
what?
stuck.
I have a very good friend. He's also an EO member in Israel, and every time I see something interesting and I send it to him, could be on I don't know shorts on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. I'll do it at 11 at night, and I'll send that to him, and I say, "Hey, I think it might interest you." And I'll get an hour later a message, "I hate you," because he just lost an hour of his life. And he says, "If
Yes.
I watch one, I'm done. I can't leave. I know I need to. I need to sleep, but I can't." So it's interesting. Um, First time I was in Turkey, I was 15. My parents came from Istanbul, and I came to see where they grew up and where they lived, the school, and everything. It was mind blowing to me because it was the first time I was walking in the streets in a foreign country, and I was shocked. I could understand what people were saying. It was so weird. I never spoke Turkish before. I only grew up in a house where people spoke Turkish. I need
Wow.
to, for me, have seen since, I don't know, middle of the 90s, every time I would come and you see the changes and everything. I wanted to ask you a little bit about how was Turkey for you as a woman, as an entrepreneur in a different country? How do you find it? How much has it changed as a woman entrepreneur these days?
Before answering that question, I ask you a question. Were you in EO University event?
No, I joined a year
Oh,
later, I think.
ah, you missed it. Anyway, I mean, Turkey is 99.8% Muslim country. But among the Muslim countries, we are probably the most modern one. And so, but I was thinking in the past that because I'm living in Turkey, life of a businesswoman is hard. But now I'm understanding that it's hard everywhere because you have different duties and different responsibilities, and like kids, marriage. That's why I think it's more difficult for women to become entrepreneur. Uh, but I mean, it's a liberal country. Uh, what right now I'm kind of hesitating is the population of immigrants in the country. I mean, I was thinking of giving some information about Cappadocia and checking what happened in Cappadocia in the past. So there has been lots of religious wars, and people had to leave their countries, move to another places. That's why they had to hide themselves underground cities. Uh, this never changed. I mean, we're thinking that we go to the moon. Uh, Everything is modern. It's becoming more modern. The digitalization, but still, we have the same problem over and over among nations about politics, and so it's sad to see that.
What hasn't changed, in my opinion, is people. People are exactly the same, and been behaving the same for, I don't know, a million, 2 million years. We haven't adopted change. We haven't. Everything's the same. I want to ask you a quick question about 27, 28. You go into start a business, IT, fintech, infrastructure, and so on. Regarding where you want to start a business now, or when you meet young entrepreneurs, especially women, how hard is it? You go to a meeting, everything is easy, because I assume that a lot has changed in the last couple of 20 years.
If you're doing business with the government, uh, I believe it's harder than before as a woman. Um, but other than that, I think I mean, although you probably know that we have high inflation and our currencies recently devaluated a lot. But still, I do believe that there are lots of opportunities. It's a very dynamic country. Uh, 85, 86 million people, very young. The average age is 33. So I think if you're stubborn on what you like to do, the success comes.
I like
Of
that.
course, you might choose different things, and you might be in the wrong way, but you can always change your way or your side.
I like that.
Uh,
How do you deal with the inflation? You wake up in the morning, you buy products, and by the time you sell them, there's no profit.
uh, we do not deal. That's the end. We do not deal with it. It's so hard. We just do something like as if your eyes are blind and you're trying to do something. So it's very hard. But of course, we're trying to put some margins, and especially if, I mean, I don't do it in this planting business, but if you do import something, if you're dealing with different currencies, it's even harder to predict the
So
market.
basically, you're doing business blindfolded, hoping everything works out. And if not, how do you keep buying, selling? How does this? You don't know how tomorrow will look.
Yeah, I mean, it is very difficult. That's why probably there might be a lot of bankruptcies in the market in different sectors. But on the other hand, as I said, the market is so dynamic and so crowded. So if you are lucky, Plus, if you can manage it, uh, you can do it.
Interesting. What type of opportunities do you think that situation also creates?
And first of all, we do the young generation, uh, the education of young generation, plus health sector is right now it's a big deal in Turkey, and Turkey is doing very well in that side. We do have lots of people come to the country for hair plants or cosmetic operations for teeth. Uh, so I was really working on in the past to do distance health, telehealth, but it was too early for it. So I worked on it for a long time, but as it was too early, I couldn't do it. So this is probably still an opportunity, but I don't want to do it.
I assume also creates an opportunity to buy out competition, to create a lot of social. If I'm not mistaken, I remember, I'm not sure if it's still relevant. I remember penetration rates of internet or social media in Turkey were the highest in Europe for a long time.
That's right.
And just the sheer size of the country means that it's endless opportunities to create business. I also remember that they closed YouTube for a while or stuff like that they used to do. Does this still happen?
When there are elections or there are things that people do and government don't like, unfortunately, we had it. Not anymore, but it doesn't mean that we will not have it. We're hoping not to have it again.
I think that it's interesting because there's a difference between the huge potential of building. You can just do business in Istanbul, and that's like a country. My whole country is 8 million, so it's insane that you can do that. The potential in terms of social media and the increase in internet usage and technology, right? You guys have a lot of different things that I'm seeing coming out from Turkey, and I think the tech industry is also growing, and young entrepreneurship is growing, and I think it's very interesting to see. And on the other hand, you guys have a lot of adversity in terms of political situation, in terms of the currency. So you said I think it's hard everywhere, but I want to recognize that it's maybe even harder sometimes to succeed.
Yeah, but don't forget, we always had inflation in the country. So we have those muscles that we have seen it a lot in the past.
But now, when the world is going through inflation, in my country, when inflation is starting, people are panicking. They don't know what to do. They've never seen that. We've had 3 decades of success and growth, and everything was fine, and nothing could happen. And suddenly, I'm getting messages from people, dude, I'm losing money in the stock exchange. Man, inflation is killing us. We're now we're not ready to adapt to this new change or struggle that's coming, whereas you guys are ready for the opportunity at hand.
That's
If you had 8% inflation, you'd be very happy.
uh, eight.
Eh,
Or how much did you say?
yeah, yeah. So it's very interesting to see. Tell me, how involved are you in young entrepreneurs? And you meet? Do you meet? Do you support the community? How does it work? Giving back.
I did invest in two different tech companies, which is kind of startups. I used to be more involved, not anymore. I think when you ask, I started thinking I'm kind of one step back, stepping back from the very corporate, very official work life, like taking it, of course, when you have a company, you have all those details, but not like the black tie, those comme il faut type of work. I'm one step behind right now.
How did it feel the first time you made an angel investment in a startup? Were you excited about it?
Yes, I really enjoy it, not because I'm expecting to have a good profit out of it, but I also I can keep up with the technology. I can get more information what's going on in the market because they feed you with that. That's why I think it's good and I like it. And sometimes I feel like because in my previous job it was the same, so I kind of pay for it to learn it, you know. So even the company doesn't succeed much, which I don't think so, but then I'm paying to learn things.
I completely agree. I find that learning things is what keeps us young in a sense.
Yeah.
Gets us motivated and excited to wake up in the morning. We're like, I want to do this, I want to do this. And you stay hungry in a sense, I think. So that's a.
I was. I had a couple people in my house last night, George and Kim, and we were talking about similar subjects and how we changed and how we learned during our EO journey. And the most important thing, I believe, is that we started to listen the others. And when you start listening the others, you start learning as well, because each person, doesn't matter whether that person is graduated from Harvard or has been so successful, um, or any person can be working in the farm, you know, or not educated. There are always things that you can learn from each person.
I completely agree. It's interesting. Yeah.
I find it very valuable, and especially from your kids. I mean, that's a life change experience. That what you learn from them and how you change yourself.
I think it has a lot to do with being open to change. And I think in many ways we know what needs to get done, but we still find ways to like delay, cancel, we'll do it later type of things. So I agree. And I think at the end, a small change goes a long way, right? It's like
Exactly.
you start steering away 2, 5, 10 years after it's a huge impact, a huge change on your life. So I completely agree with you. I wanted to ask you, how much time do you invest in self growth?
Oh, a lot, a lot. By the way, before continuing, in Santorini, there were we were in the tomato
EO
factory.
Unlimited.
Yes,
Yes.
we were in the tomato factory. So we write down, of course, after certain stages, we write down what, where, and how we are featuring ourselves, and we look it inside the
A
cans.
tomato can.
Yeah, so that was a nice one, I think. Anyway, to answer your question, he, what was the question?
We're asking about self growth. How much do you.
What I do is, first of all, I there are some books that I make a plan and follow in Blinkist, which I find it very easy to, you can listen it everywhere. And there is Storytel, that's the Turkish, but they have also English. I find it very efficient, and I do take some lessons like um art lessons or ceramic lessons, artwork type of things. And as much as I can, I'm trying to participate to EO events because that's a huge learning, not only from the um, lectures or the content, but also we learn from each other, like peer-to-peer experience sharing. I think that's very important.
Yeah, mutual learning is important. And Blinkist is also an EO member. So it's a partnership we got to support. I think we can put the coupon here underneath. And I think, we did in my EO form. So for those who don't know, we meet once a month and the same people. And it's like a thing you never cancel. You're always there. And it's some people would say it's the board of directors of your life. And there's different variations. And we did a mini retreat for one night with my form in Israel. And we decided to add to the update two goals that I wanted to achieve. It could be anything. Could be about weight loss, investments, writing, building, creating, passive income, real estate, whatever people wanted. And it was so amazing to see that how people define self growth in different ways. For some people, it was making investments. For some people, it was losing a lot of weight. For some people, it was learning a skill,
Mhm.
singing, guitar, improv. It could be a lot of things. And I encourage you, to those who are listening to us now, find something. By the way, I just signed up for classical boxing when I go home in a month. So I'll be traveling the whole month. When I go home, I decide I'm going to take it because I always said I want to do it. So I'm going to start boxing next month.
That's nice. Are
Yeah.
you a member of International Forum as well?
No, I'm not a member of the International Forum.
I'm
Um,
I'm in one of them, and there are 10 people from 10 different countries, and of course, each year we do retreat for 2 nights. And this year, we finally set the date and place, so it's going to be South Africa. And it's always nice to visit a place where you have local friend who lives there.
yeah,
So that's exciting.
yeah. I'll encourage you guys to add to your forum updates the goals, which is
Mhm.
very interesting. Um, I think it's a great way to move forward, and it could be a lot of different things. You know, I find that part of the traveling, as you said, Santorini, we went there to kind of like unleash ourselves. And sometimes it sounds like cliches, but I think if you come open minded and you agree to try and give it your whole, everything, your attention, and just be there, it's amazing. For me, one of those key things from Santorini was I wanted to train more and I wanted to lose weight. So I did a 30-day running challenge. I ran every day for 30 days, which was fun. I could barely walk after 30 days, but it was fun. And
And you should also mention about the parties.
parties, always you know, sometimes we were talking a couple of days ago with a friend about working from home or remote work and working in companies and going to the office. And I think EO for me is a huge proof that a big part of meeting to work. In our form, we go to work. When we go abroad for the conferences, we go to work on ourselves and learn and grow. A huge part of success for us is the social time,
Mhm.
where we come up with ideas and we chat and we talk and we meet. And I think for me as well, going back to the office was amazing because it gave us a chance to talk, to and sometimes in EO, I noticed that the biggest magic happens when we're walking in the streets towards the event. We chat, we learn about one another, and I love it, and I think it's very important. So it's important not to skip the social time in anything we do. You know, before we wrap up, because I have a flight I need to catch, so I can meet you actually tomorrow. Any last words? Something you want to tell us, share with us, or even better, something you would have told yourself if you would have met yourself again when you were 20?
Um, I think I was always positive in my life, but now I'm kind of more settled with positivity that I have. Um, I can say to myself that whatever you like to do, if you work on it, and if you are continuing working on it, you can succeed.
Love it. I want to say a huge thank you. I know you're very busy, and I know you're already at the event. and it's been a pleasure. And I'm very happy that we made the time to do this. I learned a lot about you, which I'm very happy I got the chance. For everyone listening or watching, I want to say a huge thank you to John and you guys for supporting, and thank you for watching. It's been amazing seeing the growth and the watch time on social media and everything, especially on YouTube. So keep supporting. If you have a friend that's interested in entrepreneurship, starting a business, being a better manager, anything, share the content with them. If you need anything, my name is Neil Zaval. Feel free to reach out. My details are underneath. And this has been another episode of the Europreneur podcast, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you very much.
Great. Bye.